feel it again tonight, the contradiction inside you. The ache that says you are tired, worn, and small, and yet something deeper whispers that this season is not an ending, but a calling. You look at yourself and see the exhaustion, the unanswered prayers, the questions that linger like shadows around your faith. But heaven looks at you and sees assignment. The paradox cuts sharply through your soul. How can someone so weary be called to something so divine? You scroll, distracted, searching for noise to drown the stillness. But heaven interrupts the moment. Time pauses not on your screen, but inside your spirit. There is a silence that carries weight. Something holy stands between the seconds, breathing a message meant only for you. This is not coincidence. This is divine intervention. You were never random. Every scar, every delay, every sleepless night has been recorded by the one who chose you before you even took your first breath. You say you feel lost, but heaven says you are being rerouted. You say you feel weak, but the Spirit says you are being refined. That shaking in your chest right now, it's not anxiety, it's awakening. Beloved chosen one, the reason you cannot blend in is because you were never meant to. You carry a divine frequency that the world cannot interpret. The reason you feel out of place is because your home was never here. It was always in the will of the one who sent you. You've been trying to live quietly, to go unnoticed, to fit into ordinary. But heaven keeps breaking your disguise, because when you are chosen, even your silence speaks loudly in the spiritual realm. And yes, you are tired. You've been fighting invisible wars that no one claps for. You've smiled when your heart was breaking, prayed when your strength was gone, kept walking when every part of you wanted to sit down and stop. But listen, heaven has seen it all. Every hidden tear is a testimony written in invisible ink. Every lonely night was training, then every closed door was protection. Right now, heaven leans close to whisper what your weary heart forgot. You are not disqualified by your weakness. You are being positioned through it. The very things that made you feel unworthy are the signs that you are called. God often wraps glory in struggle, so that when it breaks open, the world will know it was never human strength that did it. It was divine orchestration. As the Spirit spoke through the prophet Jeremiah, chapter 1, book verse 5, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you." Those words are not history, they are your identity. You were known before you were seen. You were chosen before you were ready. And even now, heaven is still calling your name through the noise of doubt and distraction. This is why you cannot shake the feeling that there's more. You've tried to settle for normal, but every time you do, your soul protests. You were not built for the shallow. You were designed for depth, for destiny, for divine disruption. Every time you tried to walk away from purpose, heaven sent reminders, dreams that wouldn't fade, coincidences that felt too exact. Strangers who said words that pierced your heart. None of it was random. It was all preparation for this moment right now. Heaven interrupts your ordinary not to shame you, but to wake you. You've prayed for clarity, and this is the answer. You were never lost. You were simply being recalibrated. The detours were directions in disguise. The pain was the prophecy you didn't recognize. What felt like chaos was choreography. So lift your eyes for a second. Chosen one, heaven is watching you, not from a distance, but from within the very breath that fills your lungs. The same Spirit that hovered over creation hovers over you now. You are not forgotten. You are being summoned. If you feel this stirring deep in your spirit, it's because this message is your confirmation. Don't scroll past it. Don't dismiss it as emotion. Heaven has orchestrated this encounter to remind you that your calling has not expired. Your anointing has not faded, and your best days have not been stolen. The world told you that success means being seen, but heaven says obedience is success. You are being called into a higher alignment, not to impress, but to impact. What you carry inside you is meant to shift atmospheres, to break generational cycles, to awaken others who are sleeping in their purpose. That's why the warfare around you has been so heavy. The enemy fights hardest when you are closest to breakthrough. Now is not the time to shrink back. You are standing on the edge of divine momentum. What you do next matters more than you realize. Heaven has paused your scroll not to entertain you, but to empower you. You are being called into remembrance of who you are. If this resonates, don't stay silent. Share this message. Let it echo into the timelines of others who are also wrestling with calling and exhaustion. Click like, comment the number 77 below as a prophetic sign that you are ready to listen, ready to rise, ready to obey. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Stay connected to this flow of divine words that heaven keeps releasing over your life. And if this message has blessed you, consider sowing into the work, supporting this space where faith and destiny collide. Because what you do now determines what unfolds next. Don't ignore the interruption. Heaven has spoken. You've always felt it, the quiet difference, the unseen mark that sets you apart. You could never quite explain it, yet it follows you like a shadow of light. It's not something people can see when they look at you, but heaven recognizes it instantly. You are marked, beloved one, not by accident or coincidence, but by divine designation. The world calls it sensitivity, strangeness, or intensity, but heaven calls it the signature of being chosen. There were moments when you wished you could erase it, blend in, move through life unnoticed, but no matter how much you tried, the mark remained. You've walked into rooms and felt invisible and exposed all at once, unseen by people, yet deeply noticed by the spiritual realm. It's because your spirit carries an aroma that darkness can smell and light can identify. You don't belong to the ordinary. You never did. When you were younger, you thought your empathy was weakness. You felt too much, saw too deeply, and carried burdens that weren't yours. But heaven gave you that heart for a reason. Your compassion is not a curse, it's your crown. You sense spiritual shifts before they manifest because your spirit was trained to discern what others ignore. That's not a flaw, it's a divine frequency embedded within you. There is a holiness about you that doesn't announce itself with loudness. It shows up in how you forgive when others would hold grudges. It breathes in the way you love even when you've been betrayed. It shines when you pray for people who once wounded you. That is the invisible mark, evidence that you belong to the King whose kingdom operates upside down. You've asked God, why do I always feel different? Why can't I just be like everyone else? And heaven answers gently, because you were never meant to. The chosen ones carry a depth that the world cannot contain. You are called to build bridges between the seen and unseen, to stand in places where others fall away, to speak when silence becomes dangerous. Your difference is not punishment, it's proof of your divine identity. There's a reason your spirit aches when you try to live small. Every time you dim your light to make others comfortable, you feel that subtle pain inside. That's heaven tugging at your soul, reminding you that you cannot bury brilliance that was designed to burn. You are the answer to prayers you haven't heard yet. You are light assigned to dark places. The mark of the chosen is not fame or title, it's endurance. It's the quiet strength that refuses to quit. It's waking up one more time after falling apart. It's the willingness to forgive again, to believe again, to love again. That's the sign heaven watches for. You may not see the mark, but others feel it. That's why some are drawn to you and others are offended by your existence without reason. The light you carry exposes what's hidden in them. Don't take rejection personally. It's often confirmation of your calling. The enemy doesn't waste energy on the ordinary, he targets the anointed. And when loneliness visits, when you feel misunderstood even among believers, remember this: you're not crazy. You're chosen. The divine mark isolates before it elevates. God pulls you away from noise not to punish you, but to tune your heart to his frequency. You're learning to hear whispers others miss, to notice divine patterns in daily moments, to discern the holy amid the mundane. That sensitivity is sacred. It's heaven's way of training prophets in a noisy world. We are reminded through the writings of Peter in the first letter, chapter 2, verse 9, you are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood. That's your truth. You carry royal DNA even while living in the ordinary. The bloodline of heaven runs through your spiritual veins. So breathe now, chosen one. Let your shoulders drop. The mark you carry is not a burden to hide, but a promise to honor. You were designed to heal others even while healing yourself. Every wound you've carried will one day become medicine for someone else. The empathy that once made you feel weak will become the strength that draws others to restoration. Now, here is your act of faith, the practice that seals what heaven has spoken. Take one quiet moment after this message. Place your hand over your heart and whisper, I am marked by heaven. Let the words settle into your being. Feel your heartbeat match the rhythm of those words. Write it somewhere visible on your mirror, your journal, or your wall. My difference is divine. Every time you see it, let it remind you that your uniqueness is sacred, your calling is real, and your identity is secure. And as you walk through this week, practice being gentle with yourself. Speak kindly to your own heart. Treat your sensitivity not as a wound, but as a weapon of light. Notice the divine in ordinary places, sunlight through a window, laughter shared, a moment of stillness. These are heaven's fingerprints, calling you home to yourself. You are chosen, you are marked, and you are safe to shine. There are battles you never speak of, wars that take place in the quiet corners of your mind where no one else can see. You smile in public, but when the lights go out, you face the ache alone. There are nights when your faith feels thin, and mornings when your hope is just a whisper you barely believe. Yet even in that silent struggle, heaven watches. You have not been abandoned. You are being strengthened. You've learned to fight without applause, to stand when no one notices, to pray when it feels like nothing changes. That is what it means to be chosen. You fight invisible wars that prepare you for visible purpose. The unseen struggles are not proof that you're weak, but that you're being refined for something sacred. Every tear you've shed in private has been counted. Not one has fallen unnoticed. Heaven keeps record not because it enjoys your pain, but because each tear waters the soil of your destiny. There's a garden growing beneath your suffering. Though you can't see it yet, you've been sowing in sorrow, but soon you'll reap in joy. We are reminded through the writings of David in the book of Psalms, chapter 126, verse 5. Those who sow in tears shall reap in joy. That promise still breathes. It doesn't expire with time or fade with disappointment. Even now, heaven is turning your sorrow into strategy, your heartbreak into harvest. The unseen battles of the chosen are never wasted. Every time you resisted the urge to give up, every time you chose kindness instead of bitterness, heaven took note. Every time you forgave instead of retaliated, your spirit was promoted. That's what the world doesn't understand. Your strength isn't found in the absence of pain, but in your ability to keep loving in the middle of it. You've walked through seasons that tried to break your faith. And yet, here you are still standing, still breathing, still reaching for light. That's victory, even if it doesn't feel like it yet. Heaven doesn't define victory by visible results, but by inward perseverance. You win every time you refuse to let darkness steal your compassion. There's a sacredness to the pain you carry. You might not see it now, but the very battles that wounded you have shaped the depth of your empathy. Because of what you've endured, you understand others in ways few can. Your pain became a translator. It taught you how to hear broken hearts, how to feel unspoken grief, how to love like heaven loves. When you look back one day, you'll see that none of this was random. The sleepless nights were classrooms. The disappointments were training grounds. The silence from heaven wasn't absence, it was preparation. You were being built for endurance, for wisdom, for a compassion that can heal others because it was first tested in fire. You've been asking God, when will it end? But perhaps the better question is, what is this shaping in me? Because even when you can't see it, you are being sculpted into someone who can carry the weight of destiny with humility and grace. The chosen are not those who have no wounds, they are those who let their wounds become windows through which God's light shines. You've learned to smile through pain, to stand when shaking, to love while bleeding. That is not weakness. That is divine resilience. You are living proof that heaven's strength is made perfect in human frailty. Listen closely. Your unseen tears are not wasted, they are an offering. Every prayer you whispered when no one listened rose like incense. Heaven heard, heaven responded, even in the silence. And one day, you'll stand in the place of your pain and realize it became the birthplace of your purpose. There will be people you meet who are walking through the same darkness you once knew. You'll recognize it in their eyes, the quiet exhaustion, the hidden despair, and you'll be able to say, I've been there. That's your ministry. That's your mark. The healed become healers. The once broken become bridges. So let this be your reminder: every private struggle carries public purpose. You are not defined by what tried to destroy you. You are defined by the one who walked with you through it. You are still standing, and that alone is evidence that heaven has more for you. Now, chosen one, before you scroll away, pause, take a deep breath, whisper a truth that anchors you in this moment. Comment, I rise again. Let those 3 words be your declaration today. Not because everything is fixed, but because you refuse to stay fallen. When you type them, you are doing more than interacting, you are making a prophetic statement over your own life. You are agreeing with heaven that your story doesn't end in defeat. And as you say it, feel the shift inside. The heaviness that's lingered begins to lift. Hope stirs quietly, like a heartbeat returning after stillness. You remember who you are, not broken, but becoming. Not forgotten, but forming. The tears you've cried are turning into rivers of healing, not just for you, but for every life your story will touch. Heaven smiles upon your resilience. You have fought quietly, but heaven has seen loudly. This is your confirmation your unseen battles are not in vain. They are birthing something holy. The darkness always knows when a chosen one begins to awaken. The moment light flickers in your spirit, opposition rises like a storm. You wonder why the attacks intensified just when you decided to heal, to obey, to become who God called you to be. It's because darkness recognizes your light before you fully do. The battle is not proof of weakness, it's confirmation of worth. You may not see it, but your obedience disrupts demonic patterns. The moment you begin to walk in purpose, hell takes notice. The warfare around you is not random, it is reaction. The enemy studies the chosen. He recognizes the fragrance of heaven on your life. That's why you felt misunderstood, rejected, and attacked by things you can't explain. You carry an assignment too powerful to go unchallenged. When you step into divine awareness, the pressure increases. You start to question yourself, doubt your progress, and feel the urge to retreat. But listen, heaven does not call you into battle without equipping you. You are not a target to be pitied. You are a warrior being trained. Every fiery dart that's been thrown your way only reveals how afraid the enemy is of your awakening. You've noticed that when you try to pray, distractions multiply. When you decide to focus, confusion swells. When you feel peace, conflict suddenly appears. This is spiritual warfare, evidence that your life carries impact. The darkness attacks not because you are failing, but because you are about to cross a threshold that changes everything. As was spoken in the sacred texts of old, in the Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 5, the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. This is not poetry, it is prophecy. That light lives in you. You may tremble, but your flame will not be extinguished. You may feel surrounded, but your spirit still burns. The chosen ones are not exempt from battle, they are forged by it. Your trials are not curses, they are confirmations. Every challenge has carved strength into your character, depth into your faith, and clarity into your calling. You are becoming someone the enemy cannot manipulate, someone whose roots go deeper than fear. There's a reason you've felt isolated lately. The warfare isolates those whom heaven is promoting. When God raises your influence, He allows resistance to refine your discernment. Not everyone who smiles at you carries light. Some are drawn to your fire but cannot handle its purity. The chosen must learn to guard their oil, to protect their peace and their purpose with sacred vigilance. Remember this: the same power that raised Jesus from the grave lives within you. The darkness may surround you, but it cannot inhabit you. You carry the authority to command it to flee. When you pray, things shift in unseen places. When you speak, heaven responds. When you worship, chains snap even if you don't see them falling. You are learning to fight differently now, not with anger or panic, but with presence. Warfare is not about shouting louder, it's about standing firmer. The enemy's goal is to make you react, but heaven's invitation is to make you rest. The darkness fears a believer who refuses to lose peace. There have been moments when you felt the weight was too much, when confusion, betrayal, or fatigue made you want to quit. But somehow, something inside you kept you standing. That was not coincidence. That was the Spirit of God holding you upright. You may not realize it, but even your endurance terrifies hell. Every morning you wake up and try again. The kingdom of darkness loses ground. You've been asking, why me? But maybe the better question is, why not me? You were built for this moment. Heaven trusted you with a warfare others could not survive because your endurance carries a generational assignment. You are not just fighting for yourself, you are fighting for the freedom of those who will come after you. Every trial you conquer breaks a curse that once ruled your bloodline. Every victory you claim in secret shifts the future for someone else. That's why your life feels like constant resistance. It's because your very existence is deliverance in motion. Now is not the time to retreat. Stand tall, chosen one. Raise your head even when your knees tremble. Declare that you will not surrender your peace, your joy, or your purpose to fear. Heaven's armies stand behind you, even when you cannot see them. The same fire that guarded Israel by night guards you now. You are light in motion, purpose in flesh, prophecy walking. The attacks prove your position. The chaos proves your calling. You have been anointed for confrontation with darkness, and you will not lose. Now, before this moment ends, make a prophetic act of alignment. Type the number 444 in the comments as a declaration that you are walking in light, not fear. Let it be your signal to heaven and a warning to hell that you recognize your identity. When you write it, whisper under your breath, "The light within me cannot be overcome." Then take one steady breath. Feel the calm that follows obedience. The battle might continue, but your heart is anchored now. The darkness has already lost its grip. You shine, chosen one. You endure, you overcome. There's a whisper that has followed you for months, gentle, persistent, never quite fading. It speaks when the noise quiets, when your phone is silent, when you're lying awake staring at the ceiling. It's not guilt, not worry, not imagination. It's direction. Heaven has been trying to reach you through that still, small voice that refuses to leave your spirit. You've called it intuition, coincidence, or maybe just your own overthinking, but it isn't. It's God's way of guiding you between what is good and what is right. You see, the voice of heaven doesn't always sound like thunder. Sometimes it sounds like conviction wrapped in peace. It doesn't shout, it tugs. It doesn't push, it pulls. And every time you ignore it, life becomes a little more confusing, a little more heavy, a little more dry. The voice you keep ignoring isn't trying to control you, it's trying to protect you. Every detour it suggests, every delay it enforces, every closed door it arranges, all of it is mercy in disguise. You think you're losing opportunities, but heaven is often removing traps dressed as blessings. Think about it. How many times did something fall apart, and later you whispered, "Thank God that didn't work out"? That's the evidence. Heaven's redirections rarely make sense at first, but they always make peace later. There is a pattern in your life, chosen one. Every time you listened to that whisper, peace followed. Every time you ignored it, chaos did. You don't need more signs, you need stillness. The divine doesn't compete with noise. God speaks in frequencies your soul must be quiet enough to hear. As Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of John, chapter 10, verse 27, "My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me." Those words were not metaphor, they were instruction. You were designed to hear heaven clearly. The voice of God is not a riddle, it's a rhythm. When your heart is aligned, you recognize it instantly. Maybe lately you've been feeling unsure, torn between what your heart feels and what your mind fears. You've prayed for clarity but heard only silence. Yet what if the silence is the answer? Sometimes heaven stays quiet not because it's absent, but because it already spoke. The last instruction still stands. The delay is not new direction, it's waiting for your obedience. You see, divine guidance often comes disguised as discomfort. When your spirit outgrows a place, peace begins to leave. The conversations you used to enjoy start to drain you. The habits that once comforted you begin to feel heavy. That's not depression, it's transition. Heaven is shifting you from convenience to conviction. It's like a seed cracking underground. From the outside, it looks like destruction, but inside, it's transformation. You can't stay where you are and still become who you're meant to be. The whisper is heaven saying, "It's time." You've felt it, you've been sensing a pull to pray more, to forgive faster, to detach from things that no longer carry grace. You've been feeling the ache to return to your first love, the moments when your faith was alive. Your worship was raw, and your obedience was simple. Heaven is calling you back there, not to shame you, but to remind you of your original fire. This message isn't just information, it's invitation. The same God who called your name in the beginning is still whispering it now. He hasn't stopped speaking, you just learn to live louder than you listen. But tonight, Heaven interrupts the noise again to say, "Come back to the still place. I'm still here." Close your eyes for a moment and picture it, a gentle wind moving through a field of wheat, each stalk bowing slightly as the wind passes. That's how obedience feels, not forced, but surrendered. The wind doesn't shout at the wheat to move, it simply flows through it. The wheat responds naturally, gracefully. That's what heaven desires for you, to move in rhythm, not resistance. And if this message is resonating with something deep inside you, let that be your confirmation. Don't push it away this time. This is not manipulation, it's mercy. Heaven doesn't beg, it beckons. When God speaks, He does so to draw, not to demand. Beloved chosen one, if this word has met you in that secret place between doubt and decision, respond with sincerity, not with haste, but with heart. Take a breath and whisper, "Speak. Lord, I'm listening," or just then act on whatever peace tells you next. Maybe it's letting go of something that's quietly draining you. Maybe it's reaching out to someone you've avoided. Maybe it's returning to the altar of prayer that you abandoned when life got busy. Whatever it is, obedience is the bridge between confusion and clarity. And if this space, these words, have been a light to you, share it forward. Someone else is scrolling through the same darkness you just came out of. A simple like, a quiet share, a comment of gratitude might be the ripple that leads another heart back to faith. Subscribe, not as a follower chasing content, but as a believer staying connected to what heaven is releasing here. Every message is a seed, and by sharing, you're helping it reach new soil. And if your heart feels led, consider giving, not out of pressure, but partnership. Like rain watering the ground that nourishes you, your giving helps this work continue, helps these words reach others who need healing, hope, and restoration. Because when you invest in light, darkness loses territory. This is not performance, it's purpose. You are part of something heaven-sized. So let the whisper guide you now. Let peace be your confirmation. The same voice that called you here will lead you home. Delay, that small, quiet word that often hides behind your good intentions. You don't mean to ignore the call, you just plan to obey later. You promise yourself that you'll start when things calm down, when the fear fades, when the timing feels right. But chosen one, listen carefully. Every delay carries a cost. Every postponed act of obedience allows something sacred to slip further from reach. The danger of delay isn't always obvious. It begins as hesitation, soft, rational, reasonable. I'll pray about it tomorrow. I'll forgive when they apologize. I'll start when I have more clarity. But heaven moves in moments, not convenience. The divine operates on timing, not comfort. And when heaven opens a door, it expects movement, not analysis. You felt it, the nudge to act, to speak, to let go. That quiet instruction that pressed against your heart days or weeks ago. You kept feeling it resurface, even after you tried to forget. That's not coincidence. It's mercy chasing you. The longer you wait, the more the moment begins to fade. The longer you stall, the harder it becomes to hear. As the apostle reminds us in his second letter to the Corinthians, chapter 6, verse 2, "Now is the accepted time. Behold, now is the day of salvation." That word now echoes through eternity. Heaven doesn't deal in delay, it deals in destiny. Every divine prompting comes with an expiration date. It's not because God grows impatient, it's because opportunities are windows, not walls. They open for a season and close when ignored. Think back on the moments you almost obeyed, the relationships you felt called to end, the habits you felt convicted to break. The dreams you were stirred to begin, but you hesitated. You told yourself it wasn't the right time, that you needed more confirmation, more courage, more proof. But deep down, you already knew. That knowing was heaven's permission. You didn't need another sign, you needed movement. Delay is deceptive because it feels harmless. You think you're waiting for better conditions. But often the delay is disobedience disguised as wisdom. Heaven never required you to understand, only to trust. You are not responsible for outcomes, only obedience. When God says move, your job is to step, not strategize. Chosen one, you've been standing at the edge of a threshold for too long. You've prayed for change while staying in the same place. But doors don't open for those who only wish they open for those who walk. The promise you're waiting for might already exist on the other side of your delayed obedience. Delay drains divine momentum. The longer you wait, the heavier the step becomes. Fear grows roots where obedience hesitates. And soon, what was once a simple yes begins to feel impossible. That's how destinies decay, not from denial, but from delay. Heaven is whispering to you right now, move. That idea that's been burning in your spirit, start it. That conversation you've been avoiding, have it. That apology you've been resisting, speak it. That act of faith you've been postponing, do it. Don't let hesitation rob you of heaven's timing. The danger of delay is that it breeds dullness. Each ignored prompting makes the next one harder to hear. Disobedience rarely begins with rebellion. It begins with postponement. You don't wake up one day far from God, you drift there, one later at a time. You think you have time, but destiny doesn't wait forever. There is a sacred urgency in your spirit right now because heaven knows what's ahead. Every delayed step shifts alignment, changes encounters, alters timing. Obedience keeps you in rhythm with heaven's movement. When God says go, it means He's already gone ahead. The road won't be ready forever. The season you're in right now, this exact day, this exact stirring was designed for action. So why do we delay? Because obedience requires trust, and trust feels risky. It means surrendering control, stepping into uncertainty, believing that what you cannot see is still secure. But the truth is, delayed obedience is often disguised disbelief. It's saying, I trust God, but not enough to act yet. You are not waiting for the perfect moment. The perfect moment is waiting for you to act. Heaven doesn't need perfection, it needs participation. You've said, I'll start when I'm ready. But readiness comes through obedience, not before it. You don't need to have everything figured out to take the first step. You just need faith the size of a seed. The river doesn't part until your feet touch the water. The miracle doesn't multiply until you offer what's in your hand. This is your reminder. Chosen one, the cost of delay is unseen loss. Every moment of hesitation can close a door you didn't even realize was open. But grace is still here, it's calling you forward right now. Let today be the day you move from hearing to doing, from thinking to becoming. Heaven is not asking for perfection, it's asking for a yes. Now, here is your 24-hour obedience practice. Within the next 24 hours, take one action, small or large, that aligns with what God has been prompting you to do. It doesn't have to be dramatic. Send the message you've been putting off. Release the fear you've been holding. Write the plan, start the prayer, delete the distraction. Give where you've been hesitant. Whatever that nudge is, obey quickly. Do it before excuses can grow. Let your obedience become your offering. Then, when you've done it, take a quiet moment to thank God for trusting you with instruction. Feel the peace that follows prompt obedience. That peace is proof you're back in alignment. Delay is dangerous. Chosen one, But obedience, especially immediate obedience, builds destiny. Heaven is waiting not for your perfection, but for your next step. Take it. There are seasons when silence becomes your teacher, when prayers seem to echo back unanswered, and the quiet feels too heavy to bear. In those moments, you start to question everything: your faith, your direction, your purpose. You wonder if you've done something wrong, if God has stepped back, or if perhaps you've missed the path entirely. But what if the silence is not punishment, but preparation? What if isolation is heaven's way of refining your sight? Chosen one, when God hides you, it's not rejection, it's refinement. The quiet seasons are not evidence of abandonment, they are evidence of divine focus. You've been set apart, not pushed aside. Heaven doesn't waste isolation. It uses it to separate you from noise that can't go where you're going. The world glorifies visibility, but heaven treasures stillness. God often hides his strongest soldiers in plain sight, disguising them in seasons of waiting until they've learned to hear his voice above every other. You are not forgotten, you are being fashioned. Think of how gold is purified. It's not polished in comfort, it's refined in fire. Isolation feels like heat, like pressure, like loss, but it's burning away everything that cannot carry the next season of your life. You're not being diminished, you're being distilled. Every distraction that's fallen away, every relationship that ended without closure, every door that closed unexpectedly, those weren't punishments. They were protections. You've been wondering why certain people drifted, why familiar places suddenly felt foreign, why comfort turned to restlessness. It's because heaven knew those environments could no longer sustain your growth. You were never meant to bloom in shallow soil. God had to pull you out before your roots grew too entangled in what was temporary. The isolation test is one of the hardest a chosen one endures, because in it, there is no audience, no affirmation, no applause, just silence. And in that silence, you meet yourself. You learn what you really believe, what you really fear, and what you really love. You discover that your worth was never in being seen. It was in being known. We read in the writings of the prophet Malachi, chapter 3, verse 3. He will sit as a refiner and purifier of silver. The process is intimate. The refiner never leaves the silver in the fire unattended. He watches it closely, eyes fixed, because he knows the exact moment when the impurities have melted away and the reflection begins to appear. That's what heaven is doing in you right now, waiting until you reflect him more clearly. It's easy to see isolation as emptiness, but in truth, it's incubation. Seeds are hidden before they're seen. A seed doesn't die underground, it transforms. Darkness is not its grave, but its growth chamber. So too, your current quietness is not your end. It's the sacred middle where transformation unfolds unseen. Sometimes God hides you to protect the purity of your purpose. Exposure too early can destroy what's still maturing inside you. You may feel ready, but heaven sees the cracks you can't yet see. It's not delay, it's development. The cocoon feels like confinement, but within it, the caterpillar dissolves everything that once defined it. The pressure is necessary to produce wings. You might feel forgotten, but the truth is, heaven is closer in silence than in noise. You're being taught the art of dependence, learning that God's presence isn't always felt, but it's always faithful. You are learning to walk by faith, not feelings. You are learning to believe without visible signs. That's not weakness, that's mastery. In isolation, you also learn discernment. Without the chatter of others, you begin to recognize the tone of heaven's voice, the still, calm reassurance that doesn't rush or demand. the subtle convictions that lead you toward truth, not pressure. This is divine tuning your spirit being recalibrated to hear God clearly in a world full of static. The longer you walk with God, the more you'll realize that silence doesn't mean absence. It means trust. When a teacher is silent during a test, it's not because they've left, it's because they've already given you everything you need to pass. So if your world feels quiet, take heart. Heaven hasn't forgotten your name. You're simply in the sacred part of the process where everything hidden is being healed and everything fragile is being strengthened. You're learning to draw strength from solitude. You're learning to find joy in stillness. You're learning that peace isn't the absence of storms, it's the presence of God within them. When you emerge from this, you won't be the same. You'll speak differently, walk differently, love differently. The isolation that once broke you will become the foundation that builds you. And one day, when you're standing in your calling, when people ask how you learned to trust God so deeply, you'll smile and say, "He taught me in the silence." So don't fight this season. Don't rush the process. Rest in it. Let the quiet do its holy work. You are not lost, you are being located. You are not abandoned, you are being anchored. Heaven hasn't gone silent. It's simply tuning your heart to hear more clearly. This is what it means to be chosen, not just to be seen in glory, but to be shaped in hiddenness. And when you come out of this, you'll know the silence was never empty. It was full of God. Everything that's falling apart right now isn't meant to destroy you, it's meant to shape you. The breaking you're facing is not the end. It's heaven's beginning. What you see as loss, God calls construction. The divine does not build on unstable ground. And sometimes the only way to prepare you for your next season is to tear down what cannot hold the weight of what's coming. You've been wondering why everything feels fragile, why plans collapse, relationships shift, and peace seems temporary. It's because heaven is rearranging the foundation. Before new structure rises, old scaffolding must come down. You are not being punished, you are being purified. The chosen often mistake divine breaking for abandonment, but it's the opposite. Breaking is proof that heaven is near. God does not break what he intends to discard. He breaks what he intends to bless. The hand that allows the wound is the same hand that applies the healing. Sometimes the breaking begins quietly. You wake up one morning and realize you no longer fit into what once felt right. The conversations that once thrilled you now feel empty. The dreams that once drove you now feel distant. That discomfort is divine. It's heaven's signal that transition has begun. Chosen one, there is a sacred dismantling taking place. Heaven is removing what's temporary so it can reveal what's eternal. The pruning hurts, but the fruit will prove it was worth it. You can't carry the weight of your next miracle with the same mindset that survived your last storm. Something must shift, and the shift requires surrender. You might be saying, "But I worked so hard for this," then heaven answers, "Yes, but I'm building something greater." Every time you lose something for the sake of obedience, you are not being emptied, you're being prepared to be filled differently. We find this truth written in the Gospel of John, chapter 12, verse 24. Unless a grain of wheat falls into the ground and dies, it remains alone. But if it dies, it produces much fruit. What a mystery! Death becomes the doorway to life. Breaking becomes the birth of abundance. You've been planted, not buried. There's a difference. Burial is final, planting is promise. The soil covering you right now is not the end, it's the protection that ensures your resurrection. You may not see light yet, but heaven is already nurturing growth beneath the surface. In this breaking season, God is teaching you detachment. He's showing you how to hold blessings loosely, how to trust Him with outcomes, how to find peace even when plans dissolve. The enemy wants you to interpret pain as punishment, but heaven calls it promotion in disguise. Your tears are watering the very ground where new life is taking root. You cannot see the fruit yet because the roots are still forming. Roots are invisible by design. Heaven grows what's unseen before it reveals what's visible. That's why faith feels hard in this stage. You are asked to trust in what you cannot yet touch. This breaking is not random, it's strategic. You are being freed from dependence on what was never meant to sustain you. God will never remove what you need, only what limits you. The friendships that drifted, the opportunities that dissolved, the seasons that ended, every exit was divine mercy, clearing space for something higher, holier, and healthier. When everything seems to crumble, don't rush to rebuild. Sometimes heaven needs the dust to settle before foundation can be laid again. Let the rubble rest for a while. Sit in the middle of what seems like chaos and breathe. The same God who allowed the breaking is already drafting the blueprint for your rebuilding. And when you finally begin to rise again, you'll realize that what you lost was never as valuable as what you gained: clarity, peace, maturity, faith. The old version of you couldn't carry what the new one is about to receive. Chosen one. Breaking seasons are sacred because they strip away pretense. They expose idols, false comforts, and counterfeit securities. They return you to dependence, to raw faith, to simple trust. When everything else falls, you discover the only thing that remains unshakable: God Himself. So let the breaking do its holy work. Don't rush healing. Don't despise the process. You're being made whole in the cracks. What looks like destruction is actually design. Heaven is not ruining your life, it's rewriting it. Before you close this message, pause. Let your spirit breathe in what you've just read. You don't have to pretend you're okay. You only have to believe you're being made new. Right where you are. Whisper to your soul, "This is not my ending. This is my becoming." And now, as a prophetic act of resilience, write these words publicly. Comment, "I still trust." Let those 3 words be your declaration in the face of the breaking. When you type them, you're not denying the pain, you're defying it. You're saying, even in loss, I believe there's purpose. Even in confusion, I believe there's design. Every time you speak those words, you align your heart with heaven's rhythm. I still trust is not weakness, it's warfare. It confuses the enemy and strengthens your faith. Because when the chosen trust in breaking seasons, miracles are not delayed, they're accelerated. Hold on. The breaking is not the end. It's the sound of heaven building something new within you. You can feel it, the quiet trembling in your spirit when heaven draws near. It's not fear, not anxiety, but holy tension. You've reached a threshold, chosen one. The air feels heavier here, the silence deeper, the stakes higher. You are standing at the border between knowing and doing, between revelation and response. This is the threshold of obedience. Every chosen one arrives here eventually. It's the place where God's instruction meets human hesitation. You've prayed for direction, and now you have it, but obedience has a cost. You can sense that stepping forward will require something sacred: the death of comfort, the surrender of control, the risk of faith. The threshold of obedience always asks for sacrifice. It's easier to pray for clarity than to walk in it, because once you know what God requires, you can no longer pretend ignorance. Revelation demands response. Heaven doesn't just whisper truth for your information. It speaks to invite transformation. This threshold is not punishment, it's promotion. You've outgrown the stage of asking, "Lord, what should I do?" Now heaven is asking you, will you do it? Every hesitation feels like weight pulling you backward. You've come too far to stop now. The instruction you've been carrying in your heart is not random, it's a door. But doors don't open to wishful thinking. They open to willing obedience. Sometimes obedience is not glamorous, it's quiet, inconvenient, unseen. It means forgiving someone who doesn't deserve it, releasing something you once idolized, taking a step that others won't understand. It often looks foolish before it looks fruitful. But heaven measures obedience differently. Success in the kingdom is not about outcomes, it's about alignment. We are reminded through the words of the prophet Isaiah, chapter 1, verse 19. If you are willing and obedient, you shall eat the good of the land. The promise is attached to posture, not just obedience, but willingness. God doesn't want robotic compliance, He desires surrendered trust. Think about Abraham standing on Mount Moriah, knife trembling in hand. That was the threshold. Think about Moses at the Red Sea, staff lifted before an unbroken wall of water. That was the threshold. Think about Peter stepping out of the boat while logic screamed, "This makes no sense." That one too was the threshold. Every miracle stands on the other side of obedience. You've been circling the same mountain for too long, asking God for a sign when what He's asking for is a step. Obedience is heaven's love language. It's the bridge between prayer and promise. When you act on what He said, even without seeing the outcome, you give heaven permission to move. This is the season where your yes matters more than your understanding. You've been equipped, refined, and reminded. Everything in your journey up to this moment has been preparation for obedience. Heaven doesn't ask the unready, it calls the prepared. But obedience often offends the flesh. It requires releasing pride, comfort, and convenience. It calls you to move when you'd rather wait, to trust when you'd rather see. It's stepping into deep water while others stay on shore. Yet in that deep place, the miraculous happens. The Red Sea doesn't part for spectators, it parts for steppers. The threshold is both terrifying and holy. One step back feels safe. One step forward feels impossible. But right there, in the tension, grace meets you. God doesn't wait on the other side. He stands at the threshold with you. The one who commands obedience also supplies strength to fulfill it. Chosen one. Obedience is not about perfection, it's about posture. You won't always get it right, but heaven honors the heart that's willing. Even your trembling obedience counts. Even your hesitant yes echoes loudly in eternity. Because obedience releases divine motion, angels respond. Doors unlock. Provision activates. What you've been praying for might already be waiting for your first step. If you could see what obedience unlocks, you'd never delay again. The blessings attached to obedience are not random rewards. They are results of divine alignment. When your will matches God's will, everything that belongs to you begins to find you. Maybe you're standing right now at a personal threshold, the moment before a hard conversation. The decision to leave what's comfortable, the nudge to step into something new. You can sense it, heaven's invitation pulsing in your chest. This is your moment. Don't let fear be louder than faith. Remember, obedience doesn't make sense until after you do it. The Red Sea doesn't part until the staff is raised. The manna doesn't fall until the camp moves. The provision doesn't appear until the obedience begins. God has been patient, but there's a shift in the air. You're being called into activation now. Not next week, not someday now, because this moment holds weight. Every obedient act, no matter how small, becomes a seed that multiplies in heaven's timing. So before this message ends, take a deep breath and quiet your thoughts. Let the Holy Spirit bring to mind one thing He's been nudging you to do. Don't analyze it, just listen. It might be a conversation to initiate, a habit to release, a dream to begin, a person to forgive, or a step of faith you've been avoiding. Whatever it is, name it. Now, here is your practice. Name the call. Say it out loud, right where you are. Whisper it if you must, but give it form. God is calling me to Tuns Shaw. Write it down, speak it, make it real. Naming the call gives it weight, and weight brings movement. Once you've named it, commit to one act of obedience toward it in the next few days. Even if it's small, take the step. You don't have to finish the journey, heaven just needs you to start it. The threshold is before you, the door is open. All that's left now is your yes. There comes a moment when the fire stops burning you and starts building you. When the pain that once defined you becomes proof that heaven has been at work. Chosen one. This is that moment. The season of breaking has given way to the season of crowning, the place where obedience turns to glory. You've walked through storms that tried to silence you, but they only refined your voice. You've endured nights that stretched your faith to its edge, yet here you stand brighter, wiser, unshakable. You are standing in the sunrise after the storm. The air is cleaner now, the horizon wider. Everything that tried to destroy you became part of your preparation. This is what obedience does, it multiplies the meaning of your pain. Heaven wastes nothing. Even your tears were investments in future harvest. The glory of the obedient isn't loud, it glows. It's not pride, it's peace. The kind of peace that doesn't come from everything going right, but from everything finally making sense. You've learned that surrender is not loss, it's alignment. You've discovered that obedience doesn't shrink you, it crowns you. When you obeyed, heaven noticed. The unseen applause of angels followed every quiet yes. Each act of faith, each small decision to do what was right when no one was watching, became bricks in the temple of your destiny. You are not the same as before. You've been rebuilt from within. We hear this promise again through the words of Paul in his second letter to Timothy, chapter 4, verse 8. Henceforth there is laid up for me the crown of righteousness. This crown is not made of gold. It's made of endurance, integrity, and grace. It is worn by those who stood firm when quitting seemed easier. It is heaven's silent reward for those who kept saying yes even when no was simpler. You are wearing that crown now, even if you can't see it. Every scar has turned into a jewel. Every bruise glows with purpose. The crown doesn't appear on your head first, it appears in your heart, where obedience has made a throne for peace to reign. Think of your journey as a tapestry. From the back, it looked like chaos, threads crossing, colors clashing, knots everywhere. But now God turns it over and you begin to see the pattern. What once felt random now looks intentional. What once hurt now makes sense. The story was never broken, it was being woven. Or imagine yourself as clay in the hands of a master potter. The pressure you felt wasn't cruelty, it was shaping. Every spin on the wheel, every press of his thumb was defining the design. The cracks that appeared were healed by water and touch. And when the fire came, it wasn't to destroy the pot, but to harden its strength so it could hold more glory. That's you now, refined, ready, radiant. Heaven doesn't crown perfection, it crowns perseverance. You didn't need to do everything right, you only needed to stay. You stayed when it would have been easier to leave. You trusted when logic told you to give up. You kept believing when there was no evidence left. That's what it means to be chosen. The glory of obedience is not that it makes you famous. but that it makes you faithful. People might never understand the depth of your sacrifice, but heaven keeps perfect record. Every unseen prayer, every quiet apology, every uncelebrated act of kindness has been counted. You have stored treasure in eternity's vault. Now, chosen one, you've reached a moment of release. You no longer have to strive to prove yourself, you simply have to live as proof of what God can do. You are walking testimony that obedience opens doors no man can shut. When you obeyed, you activated a future that will outlive you. This message isn't meant to flatter you, it's meant to remind you. You are still here for a reason. There is more to build, more to bless, more to become. The same God who led you through the fire will now lead you into fruitfulness. This is not the ending of your calling, it's the unfolding of it. So as you breathe in this moment, let gratitude rise. Let peace settle where panic used to live. Look back only to see how far grace has carried you. Look forward with the certainty that glory doesn't mean ease, it means purpose fulfilled. And if this message has touched something deep inside you, don't let it stay here. Someone else out there needs to hear what you've just remembered, that obedience still leads to beauty, that faith still works, that broken people still become vessels of light. So share this message not to promote, but to plant. Like a candle lighting another, your small act can start a chain of awakening. Click like if this word confirms something in you, it helps others find it too. Leave a comment. Share what part spoke to you most. Your words may be the spark that reignites someone else's faith. Subscribe if you haven't yet, not out of routine, but to stay connected to this stream of messages that keeps reminding you of who you are in heaven's eyes. Stay close to where your spirit feels fed. And if these words have poured light into your life, consider giving back, sowing into the ground that keeps producing what nourishes your soul. Every seed you plant, every offering you give, becomes fuel that sends these messages further into hearts still searching for hope. We don't give to buy blessings. We give because we've already been blessed. It's like returning a cup of water to the river that filled it. The flow continues, and everyone who drinks is refreshed again. Thank you for walking through this journey, for allowing heaven to speak to you through these words. You are proof that obedience still births glory. May your light shine gently but powerfully into every place still shadowed by doubt. Your crown is real. Your peace is proof. Your story is sacred. You've reached the end of this message, but not the end of what it's awakening. The words were never meant to finish here, they were meant to travel with you, to echo softly in the places where silence used to speak louder than hope. Heaven's whisper doesn't end when the screen goes dark. It continues in every decision you make, every act of courage you take, every moment you choose faith over fear. Take a breath. Feel how far you've come even while still becoming. You've walked through revelation, through conviction, through healing. You faced the questions and the quiet, the call and the cost. Yet here you are, still standing in grace, still marked by purpose. If this message has stirred something inside you, if even one sentence felt like it was written in the language of your soul, carry that part with you. Let it become your reminder when the days blur together. Let it be the spark that reignites what you thought had gone cold. And if you found truth here, light here, or even a single moment of stillness, share it. Not to promote the message, but to extend the mercy. Someone else may be standing on the edge of surrender, waiting for a word that tells them they're not alone. Be the bridge for that person. But if you choose not to share, then hold it quietly. Keep the part that touched you most as a secret between your heart and heaven. Let it shape your prayers, your thoughts, your way of seeing the world again. Because sometimes The greatest response to revelation isn't noise, it's transformation. So go gently, chosen one. You are still in process. The story isn't over, it's just unfolding.